Hello everybody, welcome in. It's Laura from Tenacious Taurus Twin Flame Tarot, and this is going to be a divine masculine energy reading. And so I've been channeling into the masculine collective for a couple of days. I've come into some new insights into what's kind of going on. So I'm going to talk about what's come through in channeling, and then we're going to jump in with the cards. So bear with me. First and foremost, what I do want to say is what's been very prevalent in my mind space is, geez, if the divine masculine would just swallow their pride and apologize, I think that would be a miracle, is kind of what I'm thinking, right? Is the energy of when pigs fly, right? And so a lot of the feminines, I feel, currently are mastering their skills, harnessing their skills to make a living out of them. I do feel the feminine's kind of getting back to this place of enthusiasm for her life, enthusiasm for the journey again, which is putting the masculine into a delusional spiral, is kind of what I'm feeling, is kind of what I've been shown. And so I do feel the feminine's coming into all kinds of abundance as she chooses to live her life as art, right? And so as we perfect our skillful expression, the way we present our esoteric arts, I do feel the inevitable is likely going to happen, right? All of these unrealized truths are kind of coming forward. And so the masculine is in this fantasy, this illusion. He's expressed this as fact in his reality. And I feel the sharpness of the energies are about to burst. That bubble is kind of what's coming through. I kept being shown the Eight of Swords in the Tarot of Dreams deck. And in that depiction, I actually grabbed that deck to use today. In the depiction on that card, let's see if I can find it. In the depiction on the Eight of Swords in this deck, it is a woman in a bubble. And it's like her bubble's about to get burst. So there is this energy of judgment is what I'm feeling. Judgment when it comes to the Karmic's rhetoric is what's going on. I feel a lot of the Karmics are compulsively cynical, which is bringing the masculine further down into this energy of judgment. I do feel as the feminine fully steps into this energy of being self-reliant, independent, as the feminine, sustains that balanced energy, I do feel this is the proper time for this deflation of the masculine's ego is kind of what I'm feeling. And so a lot of the masculines have potential talent and skills. And I do feel the time is now to bring those forward so we can sustain healthy foundations moving forward. And so I do feel the karmic is acting like an overconfident child, which is only pushing forward more of this ensuing codependency. And so I do feel this unnecessary over-reliance on the masculine is going to be his detriment, is kind of what I'm feeling. And so the feminine is in this leadership position at this point in time. And so I do feel the energies are supporting the divine masculine to come forward with a genuine and a sincere apology and recognition towards the divine feminine. And so I do feel as the feminine fully gets grounded in her service-based mission and these higher goals for the collective, that is opening up the doorway for the masculine to really recognize the refusal of the call, right? So a lot of these masculines have refused the call, have refused to listen to their intuition. They've kind of been like the Grinch type energy. They've refused to share in the journey with the feminine, in the responsibilities. They've used their egoic power to avoid their soul purpose, to avoid being converted into the spiritual aspects of the journey. And so they've kind of been like a Scrooge, right? They've been like an Ebenezer Scrooge kind of energy. And so eventually this all does have to be integrated, right? And so a lot is being like kind of converted is what I'm feeling in the energies. The masculine is having to endure this overconfident expression of the karmic, which is leading the masculine to feel this lack of confidence is what I'm feeling. And so I also feel a lot of the masculines are spiraling over and over in their head. Well, why should I be happy when I treated the feminine like that? Well, I don't deserve to be happy. And so this lack of confidence is allowing the masculine to be easily gullible, right? And so he's been susceptible to all of the karmic's propaganda for a very long time. And he's rejected the divine feminine. He's allowed himself to be misled down the wrong pathway. And I feel a reassessing as we kind of reach the completion of these cycles. And so another number that's really stood out to me the last few days is the number 9. 9 is completion. You think of the 9 energy in the deck. I believe the Hermit is a 9 card. Don't quote me on that. So to go within, Virgo, right? To go within, to shine that light. I think of 9s, we got the 9 of Swords, which is a lot of mental struggle, a lot of overwhelming thoughts, fears, stress, anxiety. We get the 9 of Cups, which is wish fulfillment. It can also be addictions. The 9 of Pentacles is grounded, stable, solid. It's pre-Empress energy. And then we get, what do we got? The 9 of Wands, which is the wounded healer. And so we kind of have to get to the tail end of this, right? And so right now, the energy of Neptune is coming up, right? I do feel this fantasy is going to end up completely destroying the masculine. And I feel we've got Jupiter in Aries, which is bringing forward this very painful self-awareness is what I'm feeling. And I do feel the masculine is being encouraged to withdraw from that social structure, from that prejudiced social group, and basically to accept failure. And so a lot of these masculines' focus is on maintaining the status quo, protecting their ego, right? And so a lot of energy is being refocused. I think taming the beast is what came up a lot as well for me. And so there's a lot of pertinent shifts happening in the astrology right now in order to reach this balanced, responsible approach. And so I do feel the masculine is having to problem solve. He's avoided these frustrations. He's avoided acknowledging the creation of these new life forms that the divine feminine has brought forward. He's avoided focusing on the feminine, and I do feel the energy is getting quite hasty is what I'm feeling. It's like the door's about to get kicked in, and the masculine is going to have to generate his strength to break free from that miserable situation, because let's face it, misery loves company. The karmic wants to allow the collaboration of frustration, chaos, and conflict to continue to distract the masculine, to keep focusing on everybody else other than himself and the journey. And I do feel this is very overwhelming, but I do feel this is needed for his expansion, to understand the errors in his judgment, where he's missed this opportunity with the feminine. And I do feel this is leading him to some deep, dark, depressing states. And so he missed the point. He missed the collaboration with the feminine. And so I feel like we're at this place on the journey for the masculine where, like, it's all about to crumble. The straw that breaks the camel's back, right? It's like he's overlooked all of these red flags. And I do feel this is predetermining this failure at this point in time. And so there's all of these persistent cosmic forces surrounding all of these impediments that I feel the masculine kind of has to overcome at this point in time. And so right now I feel he's losing his power. He's losing his power. He's failing. I do feel there's this obsessive focus on the feminine. I feel the karmic is depleting the masculine's vitality, his life force energy, and turning any little tiny argument or molehill into a great big mountain. And so this persistent urge that it's time to take action right now, it's time to take action right now, is bringing forward this inevitable actualization of self-realization is what I'm feeling going on with the masculine right now. And so he's ignored this for a long time. He's ignored his primal urges for a long time. I think there's anger, sacred rage coming up. And I feel the masculine's going to have to find his faith and to trust that he's being derailed on purpose. And like this derailment is actually going to lead him to wish fulfillment. And I do feel like the cosmic law is stepping in. Where has the masculine put his loyalty, right? Where has that loyalty been focused? Because it's not been focused on a place of value that will bring value to the collective. And just like the mystery of the journey and God, I do feel the masculine is deep within doubt in order for him to find his power to concentrate on the energy of God, on trust and faith and surrender. And so I do feel acceptance of this failure in order to exalt himself from this karmic cycle. And so I do feel the energy of deliverance, the number 4, the 4 of Wands, deliverance. And so 4s are all about foundations, right? 4 of Pentacles is hoarding. And so when we cling, when we hoard, then we struggle, right? Because we're not giving. And so it's really hard to make more of when we're hoarding, right? The 4 of Wands is a solid foundation. That is my twin flame union card. The 4 of Cups is the masculine's been sitting in that 4 of Cups energy for very long. For my personal journey, I think about 3 years now, 4 years now. If I look back, I think I met him, oh gosh, it would have been like 5 years ago now. And I'm not that same person anymore by any means. Well, I've evolved, right? And so I feel this place of deliverance. I do feel the masculine is feeling completely alone. And he can't really understand the value of the journey, right? And so that karmic cycle isn't quite completed yet. And so I do feel the masculine is having a hard time finding joy in the process of all of these completing cycles. I do feel there's a lot of struggle to embrace freedom and liberation for the divine masculine. He's in this survival mode. I don't know what kind of mood he's in, but I feel he's been so dependent on that false community structure, it can no longer be sustained. And so the masculine's going to have to recuperate some losses, is what I'm feeling. He's going to have to recuperate some losses. He cannot stand being forced to sit with himself and stand still, is what I'm feeling. And so his ego, I feel, is very, very uncomfortable. A lot of these masculines get very uncomfortable with being alone. They don't like to be alone for too long. And that's how we actually build true egoic strength, is in solitude, enjoying being alone, enjoying our solitude. And so a lot of these masculines are very codependent, and they see the feminine's ability to relax, enjoy life, and she's about to step into enjoying the fruits of all of her labors. And so there's like this natural peacefulness around the feminine, which is also this very powerful authority, I feel, that the feminine is radiating at this time in order for this deliverance to take place, the shedding of all of these negative qualities that have hampered the divine masculine sense of liberation and freedom. And it is only through the power of being alone, forced to be alone, that the masculine will recognize the importance of the connection with the feminine. And all of these destructive and disruptive effects kind of had to happen in order to bring the masculine to a place of humility, because it's really, really difficult to have compassion for every living thing until we experience total humility, right? And so I feel the karmic's been very calculated in some type of mode of delivery when it comes to drawing in all of these negative forces. I think the masculine's getting a lot of negative attention right now that he's really tried to avoid. Something about social media. And I think the feminine is just enjoying this deliverance. And we don't even have to flaunt it. We didn't have to lift a finger at all for any of this to kind of play out. And so the capacity of the masculine's ego is like huge, huge. And all of these things that he's avoided are coming in full force, especially with Saturn moving into Pisces. And so for myself, I think my counterpart has his Saturn in Virgo, so it would be the opposite of the Pisces in its detriment. And so this ego arrogance of the masculine wanting what he wanted and getting what he wanted and demanding attention from all of these women. Ooh, the light just flashed. So I don't think the masculine enjoyed me calling him out on that one. But I do feel all of this arrogance is being uncontrollable at this time. And so I feel he can't control his temper. He can't control his emotions. I feel there's like this reorganization going on in the collective as this transformation brings all of this new intuitive, intellectual truth to the surface, a reorganization of our purpose. And there is like, I just want to keep saying deliverance to release this maintained status quo of separateness. And so the masculine's been very rigid. He's been very rigid. The masculine actually has amazing capacity to be an empowering leader and to organize others as part of this great awakening. And they've just been so rigid. They've not wanted to deviate from the toxic cycles. They've not wanted to reject those negative relationships, and because that's his ego in its state of weakness. And I think the masculine doesn't like to admit that he's weak, but it is weak. It is very, very weak to maintain negative relationships just so you don't have to be alone. And so it's this energy of off with his head. I do feel destruction. I do feel a lot of destruction. He was like on his high horse, way up here on his high horse in a position of power. And liberation can only take place after he's come off that high horse. And so I do feel the masculine struggles with monogamous relationships. I do feel these cosmic powers are coming in with brute force to show the masculine that the feminine did not deserve such harsh, drastic treatment from him. And I just feel like the masculine's being ejected out of his comfort zone at this point in time. And so I feel the masculine is being terrorized by his own ego. He feels like this is not a deserving punishment. He feels he's being cruelly beaten up by the cosmic titties, kind of giving him a run for his money. And so there's a lot of distortion of the ego breaking down, especially when it comes to completing these cycles. Ready to embrace a new order of family and friendship, right? Family and friendship. And so the feminine's always been this outsider, is what I'm feeling. And so a lot of the karmics micromanaged the masculine. And there is something coming into manifestation, organic manifestation, I want to say. Something happening organically this weekend. I feel a lot is being very much exposed. Transparency is a big revelation this weekend. I do feel there's a lot of mother-father wounding coming up for the divine masculine. A lot of mother-father wounding. And I do think that is key for the masculine to go into those deeply seated wounds in order for us to successfully maintain a harmonic relationship upon the return. And so I do feel as the feminine reaches a place of harmony and beauty and rooted in her strong family values, and you look at what the feminines have endured along this journey. And so a lot of the feminines rebuilt new family structures, new friendships, and the feminine is rooted in this energy of non-polarity right now, no polarity. And so this is triggering the responsibility factor on the masculine side, especially with Saturn moving into Pisces. And so the masculine is so quick to point the finger at everybody else's shortcomings without pointing out the fact that he's not accepted his own responsibilities or been accountable. And so there's a deep awareness and understanding coming forward as to the responsibility of these twin flame foundations and the successful cooperation of the counterparts to bring forward these new earth energies. And so the group effort is dependent on the masculine awakening and maintaining this new order of spirituality. And so he's being judged for his inappropriate behavior. I do feel there's a lot of overzealous reactions. I feel like the masculine feels like he's transgressing. And to understand what is appropriate behavior in a relationship. And so, you know, this incessant deflection of responsibility is bring forward the severity of the tower energy that I feel that he's sitting in. And so we're here to lead by examples. We're here to step into these leading roles, to have exemplary behavior. We're here to share our story, to share our journey, and to manifest the highest principles of cosmic law and order for everybody every single day. And we have to embody that. We have to live by that. We have to live by these high cosmic principles in our relationship with ourselves, in our relationship with our counterpart. And this ultimately does result in a leadership role within the collective. And so, so generally, I think of leadership, I think of father, I think of the masculine in a valued position as a high quality role model. And I remember seeing my counterpart with that halo before all of the fuck shit kind of went on, right? And I saw the leadership potential within that man as a father, as a husband. And so I do feel the insensitivity towards the feminine of the masculine, the lack of acceptance of these new spiritual traditions that we're here to kind of bring forward is really weighing heavy on the masculine's life, because at the crux of it all, at the core of it all comes back to love, right? Love. The natural state of love that we share in the presence with our counterpart. And so he's pretending he's been unaffected by all of this, but deep at the core, naturally in his heart, he is devoted to the family with the divine feminine. And so I do feel he's having to face this emotional codependency issue with the karmic, which I feel now has turned that emotional dependency of love into a lot of hatred. And I do feel that once upon a time fantasy, loving fantasy, is now turned into a lot of raging hate. And this is part of the masculine embracing his purpose. And so we're here to maintain these high quality family structures, but the masculine has to recognize the value that they hold, right? And so I feel the feminine was this gift for the masculine. He failed to recognize the meaning of this gift, the meaning of family, the meaning of appreciation for the divine feminine and all of the value that she holds. And he went towards these karmic extended friendships. And I do feel he's tried to ignore the feminine's achievements. But I feel right now what would favor the masculine is withdrawing from the karmic family structure. There's a need for diversity in the masculine's life. He's preferred these casual friendships, these casual flings and relationships, and now is kind of time to get rooted in a family lifestyle is what I'm feeling. So let's jump in with some cards. Let's see what needs to come through currently for the masculine. I grabbed the energy oracle cards. So I guess we'll start with this deck and see. I haven't used this deck in a while. Look at that right on the bottom. There's the heart energy and there's the appreciation. Imagine that. Imagine that. So, and then below that we do have the doorway to personal happiness and healing, which would be the appreciation for the feminine. So I do feel a lot of heart heaviness, heart activation, going into the wounding of the loss is what I'm feeling. And there's that envy energy. I do feel he's very envious of the success that the feminine has built. So let's see what needs to come through for the divine masculine collective. What else do we need to know when it comes to these current energies? Yin yang. So something tells me we're stepping into mastery. 22. balancing the shadow and the light, balancing the polarities of the twins. 22 is a 4. Interesting, my counterpart's soul urge number is master 22. And so mastering these lessons. And so it's like the feminine is the fire, right? Leading the masculine out of the dark is what I'm feeling. And so we get the angel of strength on the bottom of the deck. We get the thinking man. And he's thinking about the goddess of the moon. He's thinking about the divine feminine, Pisces energy, Cancer energy. So we got Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. And I haven't used this deck in a while, but I love this card. I always think of the Prince Charming energy. And although it's not a glass slipper, it kind of looks like he's holding a glass slipper, thinking about, do I go find my person? Do I bring this cycle to a close? I do feel with the 46, it's a 10. It's breaking down these cycles. He's thought a long time about bringing forward this offer is what I'm feeling. With the goddess of the moon, it is a 52, breaking down to a 7, which is that energy of the tower, truth seeking, coming out of confusion, coming out of illusion, and finding the inner strength to understand that at the core of all of it, it is always about love, but he's all tied up in that karmic situation, and he's needing to assert his boundaries and take back his power. And maybe, you know, he's all tied up in that because of some financial obligations. And I do think that is creating a lot of hostilities surrounding the divine masculine this weekend. So let's do some archetype messages. We'll see what main archetypes the masculine is struggling with integrating at the moment. And then we'll grab some tea leaf messages, and then I'll jump in with the tarot. So Rebel. It actually come out in reversed. So that's the masculine rejecting this legitimate connection. There's a lot of sacred rage and anger being released because he fell victim to that peer pressure, that poor advice. And so there's a lot of challenges surrounding the masculine in order to affect this social change. And that's that Aquarian energy. I'm sorry, guys. I feel like I'm getting sick again. But that is the energy of Pluto moving into Aquarius. And so I do feel once Pluto shifts into Aquarius, there's going to be a breaking away of that false social structure. And I do think the masculine is angry. Look at, we got the gambler. Yeah, he took a risk. He took a risk and he took a gamble and he went in the wrong direction. He was unwilling to follow his intuition, and I do believe he let others kind of lead him down the pathway of doubt rather than doing the hard work of trusting his intuition. And so he's going through like a spiritual exorcism. He's facing all of his deepest, darkest fears. He's got to face those inner demons, his inner dragon. I do feel a lot of self-delusion, freeing himself from his negative, toxic, destructive impulses, and coming to this conclusion of, hey, I think a lot of these masculines are addicts. They're addicts at playing the victim. They're addicts at living life in this self-pity party. And so I do feel a lot of energies of transcendence. And so there is never any excuse for the masculine to mistreat the divine feminine. And so, you know, the masculine starved the feminine, and now I feel the roles are reversed as the feminine taps into all of these higher expressions of dimensions of life. The masculine is now the one starving. And so I do feel he's got a big decision to make with the lovers. He's played into this self-destructive devotion in the obsessive karmic contract that's caused a lot of harm to a lot of people. And he's hidden this unbridled devotion and appreciation for the divine feminine. So a decision is going to be made. Something about Valentine's Day too. I do feel he is looking at the feminine as an angel. As an angel. And he feels awful for misleading the feminine. For not returning the love that she gave is what I'm feeling. And then we get the thief in reverse. And so like a thief in the night, the masculine was gone, right? Wrapped up like a douche is what I want to say. Another rumor in the night. Deuce. It's deuce, not douche. Anyway, so there's a lot of light being shed on the wealth that was stolen from him because maybe the karmic has stolen money, or I just feel this deep sense of lacking power, lacking creation, like creative ideas, lacking money. And it's like his heart was stolen, right? His heart was stolen. But I do feel all of this abusive manipulation and destructive energy surrounding the masculine is pushing him into this teaching role with the feminine. And so he's got to find his ability to communicate. He's got to learn to communicate properly. I do feel right now he's a deeply wounded child. He's having to face all of these relationships that were very dysfunctional throughout his childhood. He's deep within some childhood wounding. He's resisted going into this. He's resisted moving through the energy of forgiveness, and he's deep within the heart, I feel, awakening to his inner Christ compassion. He is opening up to the pathway of forgiveness and learning, and so he's like a student, right? His arrogant pursuit of everything that wasn't serving him has now brought him to this place of humility, and he's in like the energy of deep karmic roots being uprooted. And so I do feel the feminine is serving as this guide right now. And because the masculine placed financial gain over imparting his spiritual insight with the feminine, I do feel that's going to lead to a huge financial loss. So let's see what needs to come through with the tea leaf deck. Yeah, it could be a huge loss. When it comes to a career, he might be having to switch careers and lose his job. That is way too many. So I do feel right now the masculine is really needing to defend himself against some very negative forces beyond his control, but it's like he will be shown the way. The feminine is the candle. The feminine is the flame. And so there's definitely something going on at work with the masculine. He could be dealing with a younger man at work that is trying to create a tense situation is what it looks like. So the masculine is being asked to step into that position of authority, the crowning, the throne. So maybe he is being demoted at work. There might be news of being demoted at work, and I do think there is a very tense situation at work that's likely been since last June, something about that. But I just feel like there's definitely these family issues coming up to be addressed, where we're talking about, I think, come March, April. By April, I do feel there will be movement. But right now, I see the masculine dealing with an arrogant person. That's also the masculine's arrogant, boastful energy. And I do feel like he has been receiving advice from a friend. I do think he's thinking about you no matter what kind of distance there is between you, divine feminine. I just feel like the needle in the thread. He knows he needs to repair something with you. These roots run deep. And I feel like as the feminine comes into reaping her harvest, the masculine is deep within this sorrow, right? Because he's been dealing with this darker woman who's really prevented him from going towards this happiness with the feminine. So look at that bottom of the deck. A marriage will take place. And so that's basically what's already happened, right? We've already had that etheric higher union. We've already united in the ethers. And so the crowning, I do feel we are in the precipice of this transformation coming full circle. We're embracing change for the better once and for all. And I do feel honor and respect will come to the feminine the second the masculine chooses to blast something out of the water. But I do feel like these marriages, these divine unions, they've already been solidified. And we are preparing for a reconciliation. And so in the big scheme of forever, it really has been a short journey. And I do feel we're like on the precipice of manifesting all of this success. So let's jump in with some tarot and see what else needs to come through. We got the Lovers And we got judgment reverse, both in reverse. So there's that karma playing out for that bad judgment call. That is the breakdown of the false connection. And there is going to be this energy of reaping what he's sown. A lot of karma playing out in the energies this weekend. So we're going to get the divine masculine's current energy. So there's that Palace of Cups. So it's like the Ace of Cups on steroids. And yeah, it's like long overdue. So deep in loss, deep in regret, major realignment going on. And so there's a major, major heart chakra purge going on with the masculine at the moment. So let's see what's been recently put behind him. The burden, the burden. Conscious release. So there's that coming to Jesus moment, like naked in all of this truth, all of this heaviness, and in that state of self-reflection. So recent past, going into hermit mode, understanding the burden. There's that energy of perhaps a job loss. There very well could have been an unexpected job loss, but that was to balance out some karmic scales. So what's ahead of the masculine? Decision time, healing. So coming out of a period of healing. Right now, the masculine is deep within this heart chakra healing. He's healing from the truth. He's healing from the pain. He's going through heart healing. And then after that heart healing, like I feel like there's blocked movement at the moment. But after that heart healing, we're choosing the path. We're choosing that new path. We're moving forward to abundance. Things are progressing, and there's going to be, look at that Palace of Wands. So a lot of higher energy, higher creative ideas coming in, building that abundance and preparing to take action. So with Venus and Aries, we do have Venus and Aries. It does show the Mars energy. But we've got Venus in Aries, we've got Chiron in Aries, we had the Moon in Aries, it's now in Taurus. And we have, like we've got this concentrated Aries energy, which is about self-propelled action. And so choosing to move himself forward. And then, so yeah, definitely something about Jupiter in Aries as well is allowing the masculine to make this decision. So we're going to see a surprise from the universe. We just got the 5 of Coins in reverse, so that very well could be the masculine coming back from out in the cold with a confession to close out a karmic cycle for this new beginning. And so mastering the elements, something about Saturn going into Pisces is going to shift the masculine out of this abandoned energy. But I do feel a confession. Definitely could be a confession, an apology, and if he would just apologize and swallow his ego, I think that would be a miracle. Overall energy. Well, we get the King of Coins. I don't even know when that fell out with the Knight of Cups, and we get the Death reversed. Wow. Wow. With the 4 of Cups reversed. So he's sitting in some authentic truth about this missed opportunity. All he wants to do is come back and revive this with you. Scorpio, Earth. I think he wants to come in with an offer of love, something solid to bring you. I think that might prove difficult if he's recently gone through a job loss. I'm not sure, but overall energy is he does want a renewal, and he's deep within some battles within the ego. Look at, because he's been deceiving himself for so long. Wherever he's at, there's no victory. Something about Mercury in Aquarius, I think, is bringing forward these challenges. We got the Aquarius Leo axis coming through, and so he's got to release that pride. Because right now it's like there's no victory in that very toxic, addictive relationship. Could be dealing with Capricorn, but there's going to be a realignment because there is no victory, because it is not heart-centered, because it is rooted in codependencies, addictions. He's feeling like a fool. He's like a puppet on the karmic string. I don't know if she's like, I hate to say like black magic, but anybody that, you know, even projects negative thoughts towards you, that's wishing you ill will. And so there's gonna be a tower this weekend. Something is getting blasted out of the water when it comes to these injustices. And this is the masculine finding that true spiritual strength to come forward and collaborate with the feminine is what I'm feeling. And so to really recognize the karmic's private agenda, I feel there's that bubble being burst. There's that bubble being burst that I talked about. So there's a bubble about to get burst. There's going to be a message delivered. There's going to be some news coming for the masculine that he's not going to like, or he's going to have to deliver. Somebody's bubble is about to get burst in order for some blending, some alchemizing, and a returning to each other. There is going to be an opportunity. I do feel the time is now for the masculine to come forward with that honest communication about wanting this union. And I do feel healing from the past betrayal, because there's been a lot of grieving. There's been a lot of loss. So something about that Pisces new moon, I feel, brought in an emotional breakdown. And the masculine is processing, preparing to come forward. And that's what I got, guys. I really hope this helped. I hope this resonated. If you would like to book a personal or soulmate reading with me, I do encourage you to check out that description box below. I'm going to finish off the rest of the zodiac signs, and then we're going to start back at the beginning again. So I'm hoping to get all of the air signs done over the coming days. So keep an eye for that. Don't forget to hit that like button if it resonated. Share the video if you know anybody else that might find this useful or helpful. Hit that subscribe button, and I do look forward to seeing you all again next time. Thanks, guys.